Probably what I'm going to say here uh, might bar me from going to or ever visiting to Tanzania. I mean, I love Tanzania. When I grew up in Kenya, I dreamt of even being a professor in Tanzania. Can you imagine that? So today I'm going to talk about Tanzania. I wrote a piece here. I put some notes down to talk about Tanzania. So we've always known Tanzania is a peaceful country. We've always known Tanzania or Tanzanians as calm and like people who have, you know, peaceful. So this is why they're not loud people. They just go about their day and do their things. I mean, everything is always great about Tanzania. So today I'm gonna talk about this. So that's why I titled I gave the live the title Tanzania, the silence beneath the peace. So hi everyone, welcome to my live. So tonight we're going to talk about something most people don't want to touch. Tanzania and the quiet violence that leaves behind the word peace. For years, Tanzania has been called the most peaceful uh, country in East Africa. But lately, people have started to ask, peace for who? Especially what happened after the election. Because when citizens can't speak freely, when journalists disappear, when protests and are stopped before they even begin, that's not peace. That's silence. And who are they scared of? Who is who are the leaders scared of? Let's be specific. Who is Samia Suluhu scared of? And that it made me question now. It's like, is it worth to make a woman as a leader? Because you know what is happening is that she's trying to prove something very strong. That just because I'm a woman president, you can't run me over. You just can't push me over. I'm going to show you what I'm capable of. And that's the danger that Tanzania is facing right now. So some Tanzanians say they're feeling same fear that existed years ago under Magufuli iron rule. But do you think Magufuli would really have pushed the way Samia Suluhu have pushed? Nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever give us an answer to that. So there's arrest and there's censorship and there's threats. And allegedly, people have been, what word should I use? People have been, I don't want to use that word here on YouTube because I might get censored. People have lost their lives in the process. So, wow, the faces in leadership have changed, yes, but the system may not, has not changed so much. So that's the problem. When a government questions more fears more questions than crime, it tells you everything you need to know. So let me ask you, you're watching me. Do you think silence equals peace? Or just wearing a nice suit, you know? Or just putting on an hijab? You know, behind that soft-spoken voice, you ask yourself, can she really do such things? How tough? Like this is it. I don't know. I don't understand, but it's the most dangerous situation anyone can imagine. So I kind of feel sorry for the families who've lost their loved ones. You see, and how do they even go forward from here? You know, you censor the media, you cut the internet, nothing. Like people are just being dominated. It is scary. So if your own government makes you afraid to speak, well, would you still speak though? You know? And what baffles me, musicians, the people you would think, their source of incomes come from the public. It's the citizens. But they can't express, they cannot even support. They cannot even say anything. They see the people who support their fans are the ones who are doing wrong, right? So I get confused myself. So let's be real. Across Africa, not just Tanzania, leaders panic when citizens protest. Why is it so? When citizens protest peacefully, you saw what happened in Kenya. And the funny thing about Samia Suluhu is that she's so scared of Kenyans to an extent that if she finds any Kenyan in Tanzania, that Kenyan will not have a chance to leave because they think that Kenya is a bad example. Is Kenya really a bad example? I don't think so, because Kenya, I tend to believe Kenya, I'm not saying we are far, far much better, but at least we cannot be suppressed the way Tanzanians have been suppressed. No, not a chance. Kenyans will always speak up. And that's the thing that we as Kenyans wish Tanzanians could actually get. You see, there is Kenya, there is Uganda, there is Zimbabwe. It's the same story. They always have the same story. They call protesters trouble. They call protesters troublemakers. But are we, or are they? Well, yet corruption exists. Yet we have bad roads, and joblessness continues. No jobs. They can't even. The problem with these leaders is if you could stick and say, you know what, I've been doing a good job, I'll stick around. But at least show something, show the good job. I mean, Magufuli would stick around, and he was iron fist, but still puts in the work. At least you could see something. He was a micromanager, but he got the job done somehow. Now, when you have a leader who doesn't even get the job done, but wants to remain in power, but won't get questions or arrest or puts all his enemies or opponents in jail, what do you get there? But why though? Because, peaceful protests usually reveal something the government hates, and that's the truth. The government doesn't like the truth. They don't want to be told the truth, for sure. They don't like it. It shows that when people come out and shout and say, hey, protest, they show that they're tired. That's why they respond with violence. To remind you, who holds the gun though? Who holds the gun? You ask yourself, why do our leaders fear unarmed citizens more than armed citizens? More than armed corruption? You ask yourself why? Because they want to cling in the power. Well, political violence is not that random as we think. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Look how it unfolded in Tanzania. The opposition leader getting detained, and there's always somebody has to go to jail for some reason, for treason, for flimsy excuses. Even somebody speaks a saloonist or a beauty, whatever, somebody who wants, they don't have a chance. You know, somebody always benefits from this. I'm telling you, fear keeps people from voting boldly. Fear keeps journalists away. Nobody is speaking in Tanzania other than the government broadcast that's praising. Fear keeps youth off the streets. Mtutu wa bunduki, bro. How do you even resist that? Nobody knows now how many people have died. Nobody knows now like how many people have died in Tanzania. That's the painful truth. Nobody knows. But let's hope one day the truth comes out. The truth comes out. Well, for me, it's a done deal. I don't think I'll ever step in Tanzania. And another thing, not gonna listen to Tanzanian music anymore. Anytime, like it's no, never. That's the end. So, and when people stop questioning, those in power stay comfortable. That's why in Kenya, people don't stop. They will keep talking. They will keep talking. They will keep questioning. They will keep asking questions. While some might not be even genuine, but the government is always on its toes. Tanzania is a different story now, right? That's why we have police brutality. Can you imagine somebody hunting you to your house and there is intimidation? Well, these are not just mistakes. They are strategies to silence the public. Do you believe violence in politics is planned or just poor leadership? I don't think it's planned. Personally, I don't think it's planned. It's not planned, but they happen simultaneously because, there's that fear like, oh, if I let this go on, I might lose power or I will lose power. And that's the scary part. So behind every news headline, there's a human story. A mother who lost her son during a protest. A journalist who vanished after exposing corruption or reporting on what's happening on the ground or in streets. A youth who can't sleep because police keep knocking on the doors at night. And now in Tanzania, it's a police who shows up and shoots people inside the house. What do we call that? Are they violating human rights? Probably. This is not just politics anymore. There is pain in it. Violence, you need to understand this. Violence doesn't just kill bodies. It kills the trust of the people. And that's where Tanzania is now. The people of Tanzania, wanahangaika. Though nobody speaks. It cuts across, but we'll see what happens in the end. We will get somebody, because not many journalists are allowed to go in there. You cannot even get a license to go and report on anything in Tanzania. That's the scary part. So we as Kenyans see ourselves as lucky. We are very lucky. I mean, we have things happening, but we are lucky indeed. So overall, where do we go from here now? Or where do Tanzania go from here? So if your government made you afraid to speak, would you still speak though? I don't think so. So when Samia Suluhu Hassan took over, did people have hope? I think people just, I don't think people had hope. It's just that they were still mourning and wondering, and they were asking themselves question, what will happen? What will happen? Now, this is what has happened. They've seen what can happen. A woman president? with a softer tone, a promise of reform? No, that's up to you to answer. But now people are asking, has anything truly changed? Who knows? But by the looks of it, or whatever happened, or what happened before or post election tells you or speaks volumes. So never underrate the power of a president, a woman president. It's very lethal because I believe there's that notion like, oh, you're trying to run over me, right? Just because I'm not a man. I'll show you. And that's why the police is out there in full force. Very scary. So some opposition leaders, were harassed. Activists still disappear quietly. No. The truth is, freedom can't depend on who is the president. It must depend on the people. You listen? Freedom cannot depend on who is the president. It must depend on people. I mean, us, the people. Then same thing in Kenya. In Kenya hey, we speak our minds. I mean, a few will disappear, but people will still speak. They will still express themselves no matter what. In closing, Tanzania actually does not need more silence. It needs more courage. But who is there to give them that courage? Because sometimes if you're met with violence, it's different. It's different. So every African who speaks the truth, whether in Nairobi, Dodoma, Kampala, Harare, is fighting the same battle. Because when one nation is silenced, the whole continent loses a voice. So, to my viewers, speak even if your voice shakes, because silence is the perfect environment for tyranny. So drop your thoughts, comments down there, and then don't forget, peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the presence of justice. Maybe I should repeat that. Every African who speaks truth, whether in Nairobi, Dodoma, Kampala, or Harare, is fighting the same battle. You in Kenya, you in Tanzania, Uganda, wherever. Because when one nation is silenced, the whole continent loses the voice. That's all I had for tonight. Hey, you can like, subscribe, comment, and that's it for tonight. Moses, right here. Bye now. Bye. Unaniharibia video, niko live.